Professional wrestling has been a staple of entertainment in the UK and Ireland. Been shown on TV for the past 67 years. My name is Omagh and I have been a wrestling fan since I was a child. Like most kids, I want to be a professional wrestler. I decided to go along to a local wrestling organisation to see what makes them tick and see what it's like to step into the ring.
To be able to lead into a signature or finisher.
The question I've always wanted to know, how did you get into the wrestling business?
Well, there was a good friend of mine. I stopped watching it for a while, but he knew I really liked it at the time, and he started training, and he was doing it for a year, and he just knocked on my door one day and was like, "Man, is you interested in joining the wrestling?" And I just thought, "Aye, sure, I'll give it a go, 'cause I'm down for everything." Joined, naturally gifted, talented athlete, caught on like a house on fire, but it took a while to get onto stuff and all, but it was just great from the get-go, allegedly.
I sent an email to a company called Irish Whip Wrestling that were around for years. And I sent an email to another company that said, yeah, we do training, but in America, so I wasn't going there. So IWW got back to me. They asked if I wanted to go to Dublin, and I was kind of at that point where I finished secondary school and then I finished college, and I was like, it's now or never. So I went to Dublin, I went to this venue. It was like, I was told that, we'll break you in slowly, we might get you to be a referee next week, and then the next day I was referee. So it was all very quick and very sudden. So I was referee for a while, I was ring announcer for a while, then we took a Christmas break. Yeah. That was in end of November, and then took a Christmas break, came back in January, had my first training session, and then debuted in February. I was not ready for it.
Well, I was playing the video games and watching on TV when I was younger, and you shouldn't do backyard, but that's how I started. Some mates were, messing around in a wee shed and got involved maybe about 16, 17, yeah. And there was a gang of us, and then eventually me and the brother wanted to get proper training. So when we went to look around for schools, none of the rest of them wanted to make the trip, which is fair enough. So we went to Wicklow, yeah. And got training there, and it was an eye-opening because you're doing it yourself. You think you're great, but then you go to get proper training, and you realise I really don't know anything. But I learned a lot. It was very enjoyable.
Any wrestler in particular that you influenced?
I'd say Bret Hart, yeah.
Is there any reason why Bret Hart got you influenced?
The first match I seen was a 1992 match. Him and British Bulldog, Wembley Stadium, and as I says, I'd gone from video games before that. That was the first one I actually watched, and it was amazing. Yeah. I can't use any other word. And I found out later, Bret or Bulldog wasn't in the best of shape, and Bret really carried him. And when I found that out, the respect I already had just went through the roof. Yeah.
There was like a mix of wrestlers. Bret Hart was probably the main one.
Bret Hart would be the main one that stood out to you?
Yeah, he was, even as a kid, I recognized, he was the best. There's characters that were cool, like The Undertaker, and then Shawn Michaels and Diesel, but you could tell Bret was the best. So just seeing him made me think he was a big guy, but he wasn't the biggest guy. He didn't do anything super flashy, but he did everything really well. And it was just one of those where it's if you just worked really hard and was good at it, you could do it. You didn't have to be some standout athlete. I never was a super athlete at anything really, but I just focused at things. And just watching Bret, he'd be the biggest inspiration for me, I think, growing up. And then CM Punk shows up on the WWE version of ECW and saying, I'm straight edge, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, my addiction's pro wrestling. And I was like, that's what I am. All right, okay, there we go. So, Punk was someone who was kind of gave me a bit of an identity. I was like, oh, straight edge is a thing I never heard of. And so that's why I'm straight edge now. But he was someone I gravitated to as well. And I watched him. And again, he was kind of similar style to me. I did kickboxing when I was younger, and he would throw a lot of kicks and strikes. So Bret Hart and CM Punk, and probably Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson is three big inspirations for me.
Yeah.
See, everyone has like typical answers, like Bret Hart. I don't know why. I like the big men, or like stuff that would go crazy, like Jeff Hardy or Goldberg. Like just like a big mixture of people that would go well with each other. Like people who could sell well and like do a good hit. And whenever like you had daredevils and like just big crazy spot monkey stuff, like just really I love that.
I know you've been wrestling for a while. Do you have a favourite memory of a match, and what was the wrestler it was with?
Going to give a shout out to, he wrestles now, is TJ Charles, who wrestles in Spain. He be the guy who I give so much credit to this guy, that I was wrestling matches. I had a good debut, and then I think I had such a hot start. They were expecting me to go up, but I was still so like green that I kind of had a good start, but kind of stayed at that level. And then, so that didn't really work for my favor. But then when I started wrestling him, he let me experiment with moves and try stuff. So it was really great to wrestle him. And then we've had a number of matches that really stick out to me. We've had 2 out of 3 falls in his hometown. We had a ladder match in my hometown, and then we had a really good match in Madrid in Spain. So he'd be one of my most favorite opponents. But then, like, I don't know, it's hard to say. It's not so much the matches, it's the moments. It's like, I can think of good moments in so many matches. But I think if I had to pick one, I think I'd have to pick the ladder match with TJ, because it was such a good match. It was my hometown. Everything just came together.
There's a guy called Marty, and we've always had good matches. There's a trust there, and we go in, we lay it in, we make sure the crowd enjoys the match, and it's always an explosive, hard-hitting match. And I'd say pick any of the matches I had with him.
It would have to be in the INF against PJ Stars. Just everything about that match was crazy, because we bounced off one another. He knew what to do to get me riled up and ready to go. I knew what to do to get him to get me riled up and ready to go. Mainly he didn't get a say in it. It was mainly me getting beat up a lot, but I enjoyed it because it was fun and the people really liked it.
So would you say you and PJ's chemistry, it goes really good?
Unmatched. No one could do it like me and him. Me and him could just look at each other and we're like, there we go. We know what we're doing.
There's this kid that I get involved in the show, and I was climbing the ladder, and then TJ grabbed the kid and threatened to hit him, so I had to get out the ring and go save the kid, and then TJ hit me with a kendo stick. So then he started climbing the ladder, and the kid got in the ring and like pushed over the ladder, and just seeing the reaction of all these other little kids, seeing like, you know, what another kid did, you know, it was just a class moment. It's like, that's something he's going to remember forever. And that was like, you know, seeing his expression, and it's like, that's what wrestling is about. It's like, you know, making memories. It's not about winning matches or losing matches. It's about making memories, and it's like, that kid's going to remember that. I remember that. Like, he still brings it up now. It's like, remember when I pushed him off the ladder? It's like, yeah, I planned it. So it's like, yeah, it's those kind of memories. It's what really sticks out.
You can remember, do you know the first time you ever wrestled in, and who it might have been against?
Oh, the first one would have been one in Dublin. I'm not quite sure where. I remember the match, and you know, it was a great experience. There was this thing called a family-friendly show. So basically trainees get a wee chance to build a bit of confidence on the shows, and I'll remember that match. Very proud of that match, even if technically it wasn't my best work. You know, it was, you know, you're getting the courage up to get out there, because it's not easy, you know. Yeah, I've been able to help the young ones, maybe they're coming up, and build a bit of confidence in themselves. You know, I get a kick out of that.
Professional wrestling is often thought of by many as a fake sport, but the skill and athleticism needed to perform is as great as any. CAW strives to put on the best wrestling shows that they can. They entertain thousands of people locally every year.